Hello and welcome back to another lazy lesson. India has confirmed that British lawmaker Debbie Abrahams, who was denied entry into the country recently, did not hold a valid visa. Various media organizations had been claiming that Abraham was deported, while the government said that the e-business visa of Abrahams was revoked on February 14th itself. So in today's discussion, we shall look at the reasons as to why the British lawmaker was denied entry into India. We also look at the larger issue of deportations in India as well as in other countries, the requirements foreigners need to fulfill during their stay in India, and the circumstances under which they can be refused permission to enter the country. Firstly, let us understand the larger issue here. Debbie Abrahams, who is a British Member of Parliament from the Labour Party and the chairperson of the British All-Parliamentary Group on Kashmir, was denied entry into India. The MP contended that she was denied entry into India despite having a valid year-long visa. But the government says that her e-business visa has already been revoked and she was asked to apply for a new regular visa. However, she did not, and in the absence of a valid visa, she was asked to leave the country. The government says that she was issued e-business visa to attend business meetings in India. However, it was revoked on account of her indulging in activities which are against India's national interests. On the other hand, experts say that this is not a case of deportation, because in deportation, a person is first allowed to enter into a country and then is sent back because of various reasons. But in the case of Debbie Abrahams, she was refused entry into India at the arrival itself. One very important thing to note here is that grant, rejection or revocation of a visa or an electronic travel document is a sovereign right of a country. The government's move is justified based on three reasons. First one is that e-business visas cannot be used to visit friends and families. It can only be used for business purposes. Secondly, there is no provision of visa on arrival for UK nationals in India. And lastly and more importantly, grant, rejection or revocation of a visa is a sovereign right of a country. Besides, the main allegation here is that she is in contact with Pakistan's ISI and is working against India's interest on the abrogation of Article 370 in Kashmir. She has also been making very adverse remarks on India after the abrogation of this article. But time and again at various international platforms, India has been clarifying that its decision on Article 370 is an internal decision and is accepted by the Parliament of India. There are different circumstances under which immigration authorities can enforce departure of a person. What are the various laws in this regard? Well, firstly, deportation is the most important form of immigration enforcement. It comes into force when a foreigner is not allowed to stay in the country. There are various acts dealing with entry, stay, exit of a foreign national in India. First amongst them is the Passport Entry into India Act of 1920. It prescribes specific authorization of foreigner national on valid travel documents or passports for entry into India. As per this act, foreigners coming to India are required to get visa from Indian missions or posts in their country. Next we have Foreigners Act of 1946, which regulates entry of foreigners into India, their presence therein and their departure therefrom. And similarly we have Registration of Foreigners Act of 1939, which says foreigners whose intended stay in India is more than the specified period or as provided in their visa are required to get themselves registered with the registration officer. So on what basis can a person be denied entry into a country? Firstly, it can be done if a foreigner is not in possession of a valid passport or visa. Next, he or she can be denied entry if they have not been exempted from the possession of a passport or visa. They can also be denied entry if they are of unsound mind or mentally defective. And similar is the case with people suffering from infectious disease in opinion of medical officer of port or place of entry, as the case may be. Entry is also prohibited if a person is sentenced in foreign country for extradition offence within meaning of Indian Extradition Act. Lastly, the entry can also be prohibited under an order issued by a competent authority or under the specific orders of the central government. Please note here that definitions of deportation apply equally for nationals as well as foreigners. A national can be deported when he becomes a subject of suspicion. Provisions relating to deportation are provided under Section 9 of the Foreigners Act 1946.